inspired again by Cutlery Lover. I just want to do another video about one of my favourite knives, and this is an Opinel made in France, and this is a particular model which is a filleting knife. So it's, as with all Opinels, it's got the locking, well, all but except the very tiny one, it locks, so that's a nice locking knife. It's got the long, thin, very flexible blade. This is perfect for filleting fish, which is what I'm about to do. I use it for some other things as well. Here are some mackerel, and these mackerel were swimming in the sea this morning. They've got these little spines on them. They were swimming in the sea until they had an accident with my fishing line. Anyway, I'm going to, they were gutted earlier on. I'm just going to fillet these now. Okay. Now, start behind this fin and angling forward to maximise the amount of meat. If you cut straight across there, you lose a good deal of good meat. I'm just I'll show you what I mean by that. Oops, there we go. Okay. Now, if I had just cut through here, do you see how much meat I'd lose? A lot. A good mouthful there. Okay, so we'll put this to the head, put that to one side. Right, now there's a couple of different ways of doing this. I'm just showing the way I do it. Now the knife goes in just exactly to one side of the bone. I'm not going to describe the actual parts, I'm just going to show you what I do. This is not the only way of doing it. There are quicker ways of doing it. Some people just go like that, but you can get more bones in. I think you get a better result this way. So I'm just finding the bone. A long, thin, slightly flexible knife is ideal for this. Goes without saying, it needs to be sharp. Okay, I'm just turning the blade around and just finding underneath the ribs there. And you know, you can have some bones in here, but we like to get rid of most of the bones if we can. Just finding, just slicing out, getting rid of most of the bones. This is the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it. Anyone's got a different way of filleting mackerel or other fish. Then absolutely fine, you know. Let's tell us about it. Okay, so then so we're going. So we'll just turn this round. It's a bit of heart and gills or whatever there, and just going underneath here. Now, I'm a great fan of Opinels, and I'll show you one or two of my other Opinels in subsequent videos. Yes, I know I'm cutting towards myself. I'm just being pretty careful about doing it. Okay. Simpler and quicker way of doing this is just to quickly whiz down the whole side of it, but then you get a lot more. But with doing it this way, you get I think you conserve more of the meat, the flesh as it were, and you don't get so many bones. You can see again the knife is just the right shape for the job. Some things are just right. And you could have a long discussion about the physics of it or whatever. I'm just talking, so we've got a finger underneath there. Some things just feel right, and probably a very clever person could describe the reasons to why, according to the laws of physics or whatever, it was dead right. But I just prefer to so this knife feels perfect. It's great knife. Okay, it's butterfly fillet there. There's a couple of things you could do. You can slice that right down the middle if you want to. What we usually do with these is toss these in seasoned flour, which is a bit of a butter, salt and pepper. You just want to slice these bits off there. So just not really wanted. Okay, so there we are. There's your mackerel fillet, and people sometimes think, filling is wasteful because you lose a load of flesh. Well, you don't really, and there's hardly anything on there. But actually, that's what I do as well. We don't get fresh mackerel very often. It's such a treat. We like to let any of it get away. So I'm just stroking that off there. And if you've got a number of mackerel to deal with, you're filling a lot. You might, just by being a little bit careful, a little bit economical, you may get just a little bit of leftover mackerel meat there from the bones. And just if you get enough of this, you can just put a little bit of, maybe even scrounge from behind here. If you're that economical inclined. just taking the last little bit from here, don't let any get away. And you can just do a little bit of teriyaki sauce and cook that. Anyway, so that's really just about the knife, you know, having the right knife for the job, until the laws in England forbid me from being allowed to have one of these. And for those of you who live in the United States, do you know, if I were to have this knife in my policeman would have stopped me, find this in my pocket, I could in theory go to prison for 5 years in a public place. So hold on to your liberty as long as you can.